Rockers in Recovery Media is dedicated to carrying the message of addiction recovery through music, news, events, and festivals taking place within and not limited to the clean and sober community.
Hey guys, John Hollis with Rockers in Recovery. I want to welcome everybody to the show tonight. First of all, we have a great show in store for you. It's the importance of treatment and aftercare. Got two great guests. We got John from Giordano and Lyle from the Shores. We got some great people here that are, of course, well-versed in both of these, arenas, and we want to have you guys hang out. But in the meantime, I got a couple of things I got to share with you. First of all, if you go to rockersinrecovery.com and you click on the Events page, we have two events that are coming up. One is this weekend in Jensen Beach at The Place. You can find it right there on rockersinrecovery.com. And also the final finale, the last concert, our 29th concert production, will be held in South Florida. We now that Rockers in Recovery has moved north, we are producing our last concert production in South Florida. It will be held for our fundraiser at the 101 Club. You can go to rockersinrecovery.com, and on the right-hand side, you will see our 29th concert production that will take place November 11th. Please join us, South Florida, and we appreciate many years and many events and much stuff that we've done down there, and we hope we've helped a lot of people in South Florida. God bless to all, and we look forward to seeing everybody November 11th. I'm going to bring Lyle on. Lyle from the Shores Treatment and Recovery. Lyle, welcome to the show. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You know something? I want to formally thank you for the years of support at the Rockers in Recovery music festivals in South Florida that we've put on and other events that we've put on across the country. You have been a huge part of 29 music productions across the United States. Yourself, Darlin, and of course the Shores have made a lot of those possible, and I want to formally thank you for all you've done for Rockers in Recovery.
Oh, it's been our pleasure. It's been a good time each time.
Well, we couldn't carry the message of hope without guys like you and without ladies like Darlin. So thank you again. Tonight's the importance of treatment and aftercare. Can you give us your feedback and tell us what what does that mean? What is it? How important is it? Because you get people that say, well, you don't really need to go to treatment. You can just throw a buck in a basket and go to NA and AA. I mean, that's all good, and it might work for some people, but I don't think it works for everybody.
Exactly, and it does work for some people, and that's great. And one of the ways you know that you need more is when you try something like that and you try your own ways and it doesn't, you realize you need additional help. Even in the big book of AA, it talks about the need for additional care for many people. So when you recognize that you've got something going on more than I just drink too much, or I didn't mean to take my prescription outside of the way it was prescribed, you may find that the inability to stop on your own and with these other community supports leads you to treatment. And when you do, finding the right treatment, of course, is going to be helpful depending on what your needs are. So treatment is definitely good for most people, and there's a lot of things you can learn in the treatment phase. One of the things that treatment does, if nothing else, is get you away from the environment that has been so negative for you for so long. So simply being removed and in a safe therapeutic environment is step number one, and a great help to most people. In addition to that, you get the counseling. We see that upwards of 90% of the clients walking through the door have some form of trauma in their life. And for most people, the additional work and counseling that they can receive from a treatment center is going to be extremely helpful in those cases. And then there's other times where it's simply there's family issues and relationship issues, and certainly, again, you've got counseling available. And nowadays, with some of the advancements that we have in brain science and some other things, there's actually things that we can do now to balance your brain chemistry so that those cravings that don't make sense to you can actually be eliminated through proper nutrition and proper other approaches. And some people come in needing psychotropics. So if you've got anxiety, you've got depression, maybe you've just got cravings that you can't explain, a lot of that can be dealt with in the treatment modalities. Everything from neurotransmitter supports and some of the other holistic approaches up through to the psychiatric and psychotropic approaches. And then, of course, like I said before, there's the whole talk therapy treatments for some of those very same issues, for anxiety, for relapse prevention, for family and other relationship issues. So certainly treatment is great for most. And what I want to caution people about, though, is that they're not going to go to treatment and just sit in a room and magically through infusion have things happen to them. It's work. You've spent some time getting to where you are when you're unhealthy, and it takes time and effort to get out of that. And that having that guidance from professionals can certainly make all the difference in the world. But if you're just going to sit there and expect other people to make you well rather than do the work to get well, you're probably not going to have the success that you.
While I ask you the next question based on, there's a lot of things going on today as far as MATs, medically assisted treatment.
Mm-hmm.
What is your feeling on that aspect of treatment? And is that something that you believe should be, lasting 8 and 10 years, or is that something that should be a short-term thing? What is your opinion?
Well, I think it depends on the individual. I think that it's overused in some aspects and underutilized in others. And I also think the understanding of what MAT really is, we've come to change what that means. Originally, we said MAT, and that stood for medication-assisted therapy. Well, now the common term is medication-assisted treatment. So there's a tendency to leave out the therapy portion. And the problem is there's no magic pill. So even if we medically stabilize somebody and remove their cravings through medications, there's still the issues that drove them to that substance use and abuse in the first place. So if you don't deal with that, you're missing a large portion. Medication was always meant to be, at the most, an adjunct, an addition to, and a help for the therapies that are more traditional. So you can certainly, and also now we also think of MAT as simply maintenance. And there's a lot more to MAT than that. There's a lot of different ways to do MAT. And long-term methadone, Suboxone, or other, similar opioid maintenance programs are not the only MATs out there. They're just the ones that we mostly think of now. So my belief is that for some people it works. My concern is that it's become the easy answer for a lot of people, and they aren't fully informed on the positives and the negatives. They aren't informed of the risk factors that come with it, or, it was originally designed to be shorter term than what some people are seeing it as today. If it were the end-all answer, then methadone would have solved the opioid crisis 40 years ago. Is it an answer? Is it a lifesaver for many people? Absolutely. Are there some people that I recommend pursue a longer-term maintenance program rather than what we had seen previously in those 5 to 20-day tapers? Sure. But that's on an as-need basis, and even then, there has to be a plan. If there's not a plan for the end of it, and your plan is simply to get on another medication, you're really shorting yourself the fullness of life, and you're setting yourself up for a difficulty.
I love your answer. My next question is that you walk into any of the 12-step fellowships, or you have some really hardcore folks out there that believe that if you're on any type of medication like that, you're not clean. What is your thought on that?
Yeah, and I hate to see that because it's preventing people from getting into the rooms and getting what the rooms have to offer. So I understand it. It's old school that you're on, but the truth is, why is that not true of other medications? And I guess the answer is because it's hitting opioid receptors, and I get that. But the truth is, there's a lot of unhealthy things that happen and walk through the room. To tell somebody that they shouldn't be there because they're on a maintenance, I think, does a disservice to the 12 steps as well as the individuals walking through the door. So, I'm not one to tell somebody that. I'm not. Would I like to see people to be able to live a life happy, joyous, and free without those medications? Absolutely. Is that my desire for them? Absolutely. I think it's a great thing. It's a great target to aim for. But to tell someone and ostracize them in the 12-step rooms doesn't do any service to the 12 steps or to the individual seeking help in there.
Love it. I love it. Aftercare. The portion of what we're seeing today is that it's a 30-day thing. Insurance companies are cutting people at 15 days. I mean, the reality of this is insane. You're going to send somebody to treatment, and you have an insurance company telling you, well, they're okay in 15 days. I mean, this is nuts. What is in a long-term solution? It's a lot longer than going in and just sitting there for a 30-day or a 15-day time period. What is your belief that treatment should be as far as a time frame is concerned? Because the 30-day spin isn't helping.
No, 30 days is at best a foundation. I tell you, the first time I went to treatment, 30 days, the fog was just starting to lift. I just now had a concept of the fact that there might be a life without substances. I was in no way prepared to actually live that life or do that. So 30 days is usually a primer at best. So again, the length of time depends on the person. It is very individualized, but that's, we call ourselves the Shores treatment and recovery, because the recovery phase is really important. Treatment is that initial phase. It gets you grounded. It gets you set off on a course. But walking out that course and having that aftercare and having that accountability and that community, that is what makes you successful. And I will tell you that the physicians programs, the pilots programs, all the other impaired professional programs are so successful because they are tracked and held accountable for such a long period of time. So yes, there's a treatment phase, and that absolutely gets you prepared to go on and live the recovery phase, which really is life. If you're doing the 12 steps, they tell you you do the first 9 steps and you live the last 3, and that's a daily thing. So from a long-term sobriety perspective, the impaired professional programs work so well because these people are held accountable for 2, 5, up to 10 years. Now, I'm not suggesting that someone needs to be tied to professionals for 10 years, but I'm saying you need to be diligent to continue to walk in those ways and have that community of support and that accountability. That's why Bill White's recovery-oriented systems of care is so well regarded. That's why having accountability for 2 years at a minimum is highly favored and shows excellent results. And you can get it different ways, staying in recovery residences, sober homes, having, a community of people through your church or through the 12-step programs that you stay connected to that help you walk this out, making those decisions to live a life that is apart from those influences that you were around before you got sober, before you started treatment. Those are the kinds of things that will keep you happy, healthy, and whole long term.
Good stuff, man. Where can people reach you, Lyle, if they're reaching out for the Shores? Where can they go?
Well, the easiest way, you can always reach me on my cell phone, which is 772-332-8711. We've got an 800 number. It's 888-212-4603. And you can always reach us on our website, which is theshoresrecovery.com.
And in closing, we got about a minute and a half. If you had somebody out there, a family member that might be struggling with a loved one, what would you say to them?
Don't wait. The sooner we start to address this, the better. Do your homework. Make sure you're finding a place that is professional, ethical, and capable of handling the issues at hand. But the sooner you start to act, the better. And also knowing that that for many people, it takes more than one try. If there's families that want to give up, we went to treatment. We sent them there, and it didn't work. Well, the average back in the 90s was, I think, 4.3 times around treatment before they finally got it. Today's average person coming in is a little younger, so it may even be a higher number. But just don't give up. Just don't give up and start sooner rather than later.
Great information. Lyle, as always, thank you for being on the show and being a part of Rockers in Recovery, and I definitely look forward to seeing you in November.
Likewise. Talk to you soon.
All right, brother. Lyle from the Shores, you can check it out right there. If you're, checking it out here on the show, and you click on the actual link for the show, it'll open up, and it's, the importance of treatment and aftercare, John Giordano, and, of course, we have Lyle, and you can click on both of their hyperlinks there and go right to their websites. I want to take about a minute and 14 seconds and play a little something for you, and then we'll be bringing John Giordano on the line.
Hey, Tim Ryan here with the Man Recovery Foundation. Just got in from Arkansas. Want to let you know, Rockers in Recovery is having a big event November 11th at the 101 Club in Pompano Beach, Florida. Going to have a ton of music, fellowship. I have the opportunity to come down. I get to speak, share a little bit of hope. Really excited about this event. So if you are in the Florida area, Palm Beach down to Miami, Lake Worth, whatever, head to the 101 Club. Starts at 2 in the afternoon, $10 entrance fee. Come on in, share some fellowship. Again, I will be speaking there. Really honored to be able to come in and be a part of this. If you want to follow me, you can check us out on Facebook, From Dope to Hope, or check out our foundation, www.amirf.org, or for my full-time career, I'm a National Outreach Director for Transformations Treatment Center out of Delray Beach. We will also be a sponsor for this event. Look forward to seeing you then. Have a great day.
All right, guys. And, of course, November 11th, and it's actually November 10th and 11th. We're going to have a little meet and greet the night before. Everybody's welcome at the 101 Club in Pompano Beach, and then on the 11th, music starts at 2, gates open at 1:30. We got speakers all through the day with a bunch of great bands. We got Peter Keys coming in from Leonard Skinner and a bunch of other folks to be announced. It's going to be a great show. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be our last concert production in South Florida. Please come out and join us. And one of the speakers that's going to be speaking at the event, John Giordano, is with us now. And John, of course, is he has a great organization. It's called Life Enhancement Aftercare. John, welcome to the show. I want to thank you for being a part of the upcoming event. I mean, listen, John, you've done everything. You got proven holistic treatment for addiction and chronic relapse, your most recent book, the acclaimed How to Beat Your Addiction and Live a Quality Life. I mean, you've done a lot of stuff. You've been around holistic addiction studies. You've been dealing with addiction for 30-plus years and helping others. You know, kudos to you and thank you. Again, John is somebody that actually, at the very beginning of Rockers in Recovery, was one of our major supporters, and I want to thank you for that. But you've done a lot of great work. Tell us about Aftercare. How important is Aftercare in somebody's life?
All right. First of all, thank you, John. And, you did a lot of great work, and you're still doing a lot of great work, getting the message out to the sick and suffering. It's really important that we're doing this. We talk about aftercare. First of all, treatment centers, unfortunately, are governed by insurance companies. They really can't do a lot of the alternative treatments that really work, that are science-based, because they can't get paid for it. And unfortunately, they're not long enough. Treatment shouldn't be only 28 days. That's an old Minnesota model. And that was based really mainly on alcoholics. Today's drugs are so powerful that the brain is just not functioning properly. And there's a lot of research that at least 60 to 90 days people need to be in treatment. Their brain needs to clear up. I mean, if you look at it, it's like almost ridiculous. People go to detox. They come out. They call it detox. It's really stabilization. Okay, you're not detoxing anybody, putting more toxics in. Okay, they come out of detox maybe 5-7 days, the most, and they're still wheeling. Their brain is still in brain fog. They want to get high. They're depressed. They have anxiety. So maybe 2.5 weeks later, they start to clear up a little bit. Maybe they get a therapist that they relate to, and by the time they get to talk about what's going on, they're out of treatment. Aftercare is critical, and that's why I put together an aftercare program, because it's critical, and they need the time and they need the skills, and what we're not addressing is the brain. It's like having a cut and just talking to the cut. That's why I went with a bunch of scientists like Dr. Blum, who's the geneticist who found the addiction dream, Mark Gold from the University of Florida, and a bunch of scientists doing research on what's driving addiction. It's not just a psychological problem, it's a medical problem as well. People have low thyroid. They have what is known as leaky gut syndrome. They have closed head injuries. They're hyperglycemic. They have low testosterone. They have heavy metal toxicity, which causes a whole host of things that are out of balance. And, Aftercare gives it the time to start helping them, to guide them through and give them the support they need along with its 12-step programs or church. Whatever works, whatever floats somebody's boat. But it's really important that they get grounded for at least 90 days. We know this. We did research on it. And I figured this way, who's going to listen to me? Here's a guy from the South Bronx. I'm a recovering addict with going on 33 years of recovery, as you know, John. And that's why I was blessed enough to hook up with scientists that actually do real research. We did brain studies on these amino acids with 15 universities from Beijing all the way to the McKnight Brain Institute. And we showed that the nutrients that we're giving clients actually helps with brain, the dopamine in the brain, and helps upregulate it. Dopamine is the feel-good drug that's what us addicts are searching for. So it's really, really important as aftercare. More important, the treatment, you're just scratching the surface. And hopefully you get them interested in enough to want to stay clean. But then they go to a sober house or they go home and they're floating and no good. The addict with his brain left alone to his brain is walking down a real bad street.
Quick question for you, and I think that one of the questions I had for you is, and you had a laundry list of different things, from heavy metal to all of the things that you listed, and those things can actually produce symptoms that are, it could be mental health issues, could be a bunch of other things, and it's looking like that, but it could be really, you have too much copper, you have too much. So there's got to be some kind of a balance in studying the brain to be able to come out the other end, to be able to, help a person through that aftercare process.
Well, we have that already. We already know what works and what doesn't work. The only trouble is insurance companies don't pay for it, so treatment centers don't really use it. Only a few of them do. You got a handful of people that are willing to put out their own money to help people with this. But it needs to be not just for 28 days. This is an ongoing problem. If you got heavy metal toxicity, for instance, mercury poisoning, lead poisoning, the thing in Flint, Michigan shined a light on heavy metals, our water supply. All right, we have lead in it, we have mercury, we have all kinds of things. Cigarettes have antimony, all kinds of heavy metals. What it causes in the brain, this is science, this is not John Giordano saying this. What we know for a fact that what happens is it causes disruption in neurotransmitters. Those are the chemicals in the brain that can control mood and everything like that. It causes disruption, it causes people to be bored easily. It causes them to go, they're all over the place. They can't focus. They have brain fog, and that could be a direct cause of heavy metals. Now, also, you got the gut, which they call the second brain, and your listeners can look this up, all right? There's more serotonin receptor sites in the gut than in the brain. Serotonin is the feel-good neurochemical that we manufacture ourselves. It's part of the whole dopamine cascade. So there's so many things that we have. Instead of giving them, let's say you have a low thyroid. You're going to have depression and anxiety. So let's give them Prozac. Oh, wait a while. Prozac don't work for thyroids. We've become such a pill-pushing society that, we're just treating symptoms. We're not treating what's driving, the addiction and the behaviors. And what I always tell my clients, that behaviors come first. You start lying, you start cheating, you start stealing, you start manipulating, you start hiding what's going on. You don't talk to anybody about what's really happening with you. You get so stressed out, then what happens? You go seek a drug or behavior. So the way we look at addiction, We look at it as called RDS, that Dr. Blum coined that phrase, Reward Deficiency Syndrome. And what that all means is this. All of these drugs, alcohol and behaviors, sex addiction, gambling addiction, internet addiction, process addictions, everything that keeps people out of balance is a dopamine deficiency. So that's the core of what's driving it. Yes, there are psychological problems. Yes, there are PTSD. There is all kinds of stuff. We're really good at dealing with the psychological piece, but we're not really good dealing with the rest of it. That's where we're deficient.
Do you think that at this point, I mean, we're talking about the long-term aspect of the treatment aspect, and and then you get into the aftercare aspect, and I was just on the phone prior to you with Lyle. So one of the things that we were talking about is that model of the consistency of mental health and continued treatment holistically, speaking of the whole body, not just from the neck up. For anywhere from a 5 to 10 year time period. Would you agree with that? That somebody really needs to work and to be diligent and continue working even after that on their recovery, but to really get a concrete foundation in place. How long do you think that would take?
Okay, well, here's the situation. Depending on the severity of the illness, depending on the length that you used, depending on what kind of drugs you used, okay, those are all factors and cofactors. Now, there's a saying, okay, and it's really an interesting. It takes you 5 years to get your head out of your butt. It takes another 5 years to figure out that your head is out of your butt, and then another 5 years to figure out what to do with your head out of your butt. So it's actually a long process, because what actually happens is this. When you're doing drugs and these behaviors for all this time, and these drugs are very powerful, they form what's called a neural pathway in the brain. Okay, it's a memory that goes in that brain, all right? And what happens is if you don't treat it and you don't constantly stay on top of this, okay, the brain goes back to what it knows best. So, you see, what happens with most addicts, life takes hold, okay, and then all of a sudden you forget that it's just like, I'll give you an example, diabetes. Okay, how do you get rid of diabetes? Well, diet, you lose your weight and all that stuff, but also, if you're insulin dependent, okay, you got to always watch your diet. You got to make sure that you exercise. You got to do all these things to keep that in check. You don't just stop because you did it for 30 days. So it's the same thing. You have a dis-ease that you have to stay on top of. And you know what? Believe me when I tell you, I get more high being clean and sober than I ever did getting high with any kind of drugs. And people don't get that. The easy part is quitting drugs and alcohol and behaviors. That's what people don't get. The hard part is living life on life's terms and dealing with adversity, dealing with debt, dealing with loss of jobs, loss of relationships. We don't know how to do that. All we do is run to go get high. So
Amazing,
does it take? This is a life challenge, but it could be a great thing. I mean, listen, I'm a street kid. I wouldn't be in recovery and have a sponsor work my steps and I go to meetings for 33 years if this was baloney. Come on, man. That ain't happening.
Yeah. John, you get an amazing
the bottom
message.
line is this, when people go to meetings and they say, well, I didn't get anything out of it. First thing I say is, what did you put in?
Yeah.
Because addicts, all we want to do is take.
Yeah. It's true, man. It's true. PreventAddictionRelapse.com. That's, again, PreventAddictionRelapse.com. I want you to go to the website and check it out. I also want
and
you
it's all
to know
based
that
on
John,
science. It's not based on anything but science. Peer-reviewed
beautiful,
journals.
beautiful page there and beautiful website. You can check it out. Also, if you need to talk with John personally, you want to ask him some questions, you can call him at 786-271-5732. Again, that phone number is 786-271-5732. Life Enhancement Aftercare. It's not a treatment program. Tell them a little bit about it, John, before we go on to our next guest.
Okay, it's an aftercare program. It's not a treatment center program. I don't want insurance companies telling me how to treat you. I don't want to treat charts. I want to treat people. And we're a wellness center. We're going to help you to stay well. And we're a relapse prevention center. And we also treat chronic relapsers, people that don't know how to get a hold of this. So that's what we specialize in. We have financing. We have whatever you need to get to come here, we will help you, and it's not expensive.
Good stuff, man. Again, please don't hesitate. PreventAddictionRelapse.com, and of course 786-271-5732. You can reach out to John. I want to thank John for being on the show tonight. John, you're the bomb. We love you. We look forward to seeing you November 10th speaking at the meet and greet, and November 11th speaking at the festival. It is going to be Rockers in Recovery's last South Florida music event, and we hope that everybody can come out.
John, one more thing. I don't want anybody to believe a word I tell you. I just want them to look it up for yourself, whatever I say.
Beautiful, man. And you have the information. Check them out. John, thank you. We will be talking soon, brother.
All right, baby. Thanks, Johnny.
Yeah, man. John Giordano, great guy. And, of course, we have an opportunity to be able to carry a message of hope, and we do that through, of course, music, and we do it through education, and we do it through showing people what the face of recovery is all about. And, you know something, I got a great person coming on here momentarily. His name is Peter Keys, and Peter Keys is a musician, and he is a great human being. He's doing a lot of great work himself, and he reaches out to a lot of different people, and just a really cool guy. And we're going to talk to Peter about some things that are coming up. Peter, welcome to the show, brother. You're the man. Welcome to the show, brother.
Good to be back.
Yeah, man. It's always good to have you on. Hey, listen, I got a quick question for you here. First of all, everybody, if you're not aware, Peter will be coming down November 10th and 11th. He'll be speaking at the meet and greet on November 10th, and doing the last hurrah in South Florida with Rockers in Recovery. And you will be playing the keys, baby. Peter Keys on the keys at the Rockers in Recovery Sober Rocks Music Festival. Oh, I hear that.
Yeah.
Do I hear keys?
Oh, yeah. Yes, you do.
Yeah, the best.
Sitting in my studio, man, working away.
So tell me, before we get into the whole thing and what we're, the whole music thing down here, I want to ask you, Artist Alliance Nashville, what is that?
Okay. We are the outside industry. What we're doing is me and a couple friends, a couple long-term veteran musicians, and a couple people in recovery have put together a community, a small, tight community of artists and mostly musicians, to basically build an industry outside of the industry. Basically, what we're trying to set up a method or a new way of going about the business where we can be fully sustaining, self-supporting, creatively supportive of each other, and where we can have all of our individual strengths and creative forces working together for basically it's like a commune. It would be like a musical commune. We're working, with people that have been in massive bands and been on, the big show and the big tour, and, eventually the work dries up or the gigs stop coming, and all of a sudden you're kind of left out to dry because, I've been told that as a musician, we're unemployed after every gig. So basically what we're setting up is a group of people that is going to be constantly working and constantly employed, and we're looking 10, 20, 30 years out where we're going to be doing this anyways. So let's do it in a way that doesn't rely on, say, Live Nation or William Morris Talent Agency or, all of the big conglomerate entertainment companies that own and run the world and that kick you to the curb when your time in the sun is dried up. They're like, yeah, you can't make us any money anymore. Go F yourselves. So, basically it's just a group of like-minded individuals that know the ropes, that, have a certain talent, skill set that is, invaluable, really. And what we're doing is building a venue and building a company and a community that will always be able to use that. And we're figuring out new creative ways to generate income and to generate lasting income, like retirement IRA funds, how to get health insurance, group health insurance and stuff like that. The other part of it is mentorship. We're starting out with some new artists that haven't had all the experience that, myself and Jerry Navarro, who's the other head man in charge, and Kenny Olson, my good friend, guitar player from Kid Rock. We have the experience that some of these younger up-and-coming artists don't even have a clue as to what it is, and they join the air quotes music machine and get chewed up, used, and spit out with really nowhere to go. The other thing that we bring to this is, my background in recovery, the occupational hazards of being a musician, as we all know, are that we like to get high and get strung out when we come off the stage because there's no way to get that feeling again, or so we think, without drugs and alcohol. Well, I'm here to tell you that there is, but it's a slippery slope and a dangerous path, and a lot of people don't make it out. So, it's a multi-tiered, multi-level, multi-purpose group of people, or I don't even know what to call it. It's not really an institution. It's more of a movement that, we feel very strongly about. It's, about sustainability and a lifetime in music and the arts that we can do without, we can help you avoid some of those pitfalls. And, and if somebody needs help, be like, hey, man, I know what I had to do, and somebody told me and freely gave me recovery that saved my life and allowed me to do the stuff that I do now. So, it's being of service. It's trying to create just a whole new paradigm for what music and entertainment and art is and should be, just on a grassroots level. So that was like the really long pitch. The short pitch is we're the outside industry, and we're working for the musician, and we're bringing the music directly from the source, like straight from us to the people, without the venue, without the whole
middleman thing.
Without the industry, which is the middleman, which takes all the freaking money. Yeah,
absolutely. Record label. So it's you're basically designing and building an alliance that's going to be a record label that's capable of doing all of those things, and you guys are working it yourself, and the alliance is able to be involved with that whole process, right down to cutting your own stuff, correct? Putting out your own music from there.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. That also, now you're absolutely able to start controlling the digital aspect of it too, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the digital world now where nobody's getting paid. So this will be able to start helping you with that too, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for us, the music is more of a vehicle than a product. Right? The music is like, hey, this is what we do. This is what we do anyways. We love writing music. We love recording music. We love playing music. We're just going to put it out there and let the people come to the shows. And, if they feel like this is something that moves them, they can, get a subscription to our webcasts and our site and our stuff, and just kind of watch the inner workings and the behind the scenes. And, we'll keep them informed when we're coming to their town. They can come to the shows and hang out and, just that whole thing. It's like, the music, we're always going to be making it. And, monetizing it per se isn't really what our focus is. Our focus is on putting it out there, giving people the message, giving people what we have to say, helping the artist who's coming up, and entertaining the fan who's out there already, So it's
beautiful.
Yeah, and we control
totally
it all.
About giving back then.
If we want to give it away, we can. We don't have to, give the label any freaking money. It's just like, hey, we just did this new song. Check it out. Do you like it? Come see the show. If you can't come see the show, show up on our webcast and you can watch it from home, that kind of thing.
I love it, man. It's so strong, and I'm really looking forward to being a part of it in 2018. And I know you got some things happening towards the end of November, and we'll make some announcements on Rockers in Recovery. You're going to be at the Rockers in Recovery last show in South Florida. And, of course, that's November 10th and 11th at the 101 Club in Pompano Beach, Florida. Peter Keys is going to be there playing some keys with other special guests like Anthony Fellows and Joe Zepp and The Groove and Dan Carr, and there's a bunch of folks, Vic Monty, there's a bunch of great musicians, Paul Wilson. Everybody's going to be there. It's going to be a great hangout. And, when you look at your musical history right now, and you can see that you've really done a lot of great stuff. I mean, what were some of the past things that you've done? I know currently you're working with Leonard Skinner, but what have you done in your past that brought you to where you're at today?
Oh my goodness, man. First of all, I've just been really blessed to, have music be part of my life or be the biggest part of my life. But, some of the crazier dreams that I realized that I never saw coming was, I played with Funkadelic, with the original P, which was the original Parliaments, George Clinton, and the cats that he started with, which was a doo-wop group, and then they turned into, they went from the Parliaments to Parliament Funkadelic to P-Funk to the P-Funk All-Stars. So, I toured with them for, 7 years. Got sober in that band, which I kind of don't recommend to anybody, but it was had to happen. I toured with a really cool indie pop group out of Boston and Maine called Sea Peoples. It's the coolest band that nobody's ever heard of. We did about 250,000 miles in a van with a trailer over about 4 years. Obviously got to know each other really well, like way too well, but just played some freaking amazing music in rooms, all across the country from Portland, Maine to Portland, Oregon. And a lot of times we played for like 12 to 15 people, if that. But, that was a part of my musical upbringing. Of course, it was later in life. I mean, I'd already been on the big tours with Funkadelic and stuff and kind of jumped back into the grassroots thing. But it just, I'm just constantly learning and figuring out this thing that we call music and entertainment, and so much of it is about just interpersonal relationships, either with the band or with the crowd or, all of that stuff. So Funkadelic, Sea Peoples, when I was up in Detroit, I did a bunch of stuff with, some people from the Kid Rock camp. I opened up a studio. We bought an old church, turned that into a studio. That was really cool. Started getting into my production chops. Then I hooked up with the Music Mafia down here in Nashville, which was another awesome group of people, and did, a bunch of great shows with artists like James Otto, Shannon Lawson, John Nicholson, Big and Rich, Gretchen Wilson. That whole camp, that kind of brought me down here to the South again, down, into where I'm at now. And oddly enough, the bass player from the Music Mafia that lured me down here is Jerry Navarro, who's now my partner in the Artist Alliance. So it's just funny how all of this stuff comes really full circle. It's just the connections that we make, the relationships that we make through our journey. And I think in whatever field that you're in, they're just there forever. We don't realize it at the time, but God's plan, man, is way more massive and, phenomenal than I could ever conceive of on my own. So I just try to stay in the moment, keep my eyes open, and be aware of the opportunities that are always present,
So in closing, there's a lot of things going on today in the world of addiction. We've had this conversation before, me and you. Every 16 minutes, somebody's dying from an overdose from opioids. 140 plus people a day.
Right.
When we go out to do a show like we're doing in November, it's about having a great time and showing the face of recovery and talking about, hey, listen, this is what recovery looks like you were just saying. You know, we can be fun, we can have fun, we can show people that recovery is possible and it's fun. But the other aspect of it too is to let people know that there's help, that you don't have to die from your addiction. In what is your thought process on the whole giving back concept? And you know, because there's so many people out there, you know, well, you know, it's not a 12-step event. I don't, you know, they're breaking anonymity, what, blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's so many things out there, but there's people dying, and why wouldn't you want to say something?
Well, you know, I'll put it like this, John. I get to give back. I don't give to get back. Right.
Nice.
Like that's you know, that's the honest to God truth of it, is that I have been given this amazing gift of recovery, which has allowed me to be a father to my children, a husband to my wife, a brother to my sister and brother, a son to my parents, a musician, an entertainer for all of the fans, and all of that stuff would not be possible had I OD'd and died. Really, right? So,
correct.
What's the common thread? The common thread there is that there were people out there that were willing to help me learn how to live my life one day at a time without picking up a drug or a drink. And it's, you know, it's the 12th step, man. It's like having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps. We try to carry this message to other alcoholics and practice these principles in all our affairs. And, man, you know, I know I'm probably not supposed to break anonymity on press, radio, or film, but the shit works. I mean, I just celebrated 15 years of continued sobriety and recovery, and my life is unrecognizable to what it was. And the only reason that is true is because somebody gave it to me. So in order for me to keep it, I have to give it back. You know, and it's not because, I mean, yeah, it's selfish. I want to keep my sobriety. My sobriety is my first priority. I have to. Like, I do this shit like my life depends on it, because my life depends on it. You know, and the other thing is now I've got a lot of lives that depend on me. You know, my kids, my wife, people in the band, all that stuff. So, you know, if I want to keep getting the rewards of recovery, I have to return the favor and help bring somebody else up who doesn't see how they could possibly get through a day without getting high. And I'll show them. I said, this is what I did. This is what somebody told me that they did, and it works. You know, yeah, that's
great message of hope, man.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
so,
it's rad. Hey, recovery is not a bummer, man. It's, you know, they say we are not a glum lot. It's fun as hell. I'm having a better time now than I've ever had in my life ever. You know, so it's just to the newcomer or to somebody who's struggling, just try. You know, just try it. Just try it for one day, man. You know, that's all you got to do is just don't use today, and that's a win. You know. So.
And your ditties. Let's talk about your ditties. You're there at the keyboard. You have any ditties ready? You're going to play a ditty for us?
I don't have any ditties ready. I'm working. I'll tell you guys this super secret, super duper secret thing that I'm going to go ahead and just blow out. I'm learning a Greg Allman song that Skinnerd is going to perform at the Laid Back Festival in a couple weeks. So I'm like, really trying to nail down these keyboard parts. I won't tell you what song it is, but it's going to be off the hook. And I think Devin Allman's going to come up and do it with us. So that's where my head's at right now, because I leave in the morning for tour. But I promise to have a ditty for you next time, man.
I love it, man. You got to check out Peter Keys at Facebook. He has some ditties that he puts out. Check out his videos, and they're really cool. They're snappy, and they make your life like happy. Did I make a rhyme? Hey, man.
I think you did. Maybe you got a ditty right there, John.
Peter, thanks for being on the screen.
And it makes you happy. Yeah, you know, some shit like that. I don't know.
You're the best. All right, man. I can't wait to see you in November. And I'm sure
oh, dude,
look,
I just want to say I am super excited to do the show on November 11th, to meet all the people down there, to play with a bunch of other people in recovery. It's just, a broadening of the circle, right, of people that are actually meaning something and doing something in this world, trying to help other people. And what better way to do it through playing some music, talking to people about recovery, meeting people that have been through the hell that we've all put ourselves and everyone else through, frankly, and come out the other side. I mean, it's just a miraculous thing. So, again, thank you so much for inviting me down. I'm super excited.
We're super excited to have you, and thank you for being a part of Rockers in Recovery. And we love Peter Keys.
Well, thank you, my brother. God bless you, everybody out there. Have a great night, and get through hump day. Woo!
We'll talk soon, brother. Thank you for being on the show tonight.
All right, man. Take care, John.
All right, brother. Yeah, man. Bye-bye.
Later.
All right, guys. Rockers in Recovery. Check it out. Go to rockersinrecovery.com. Click on the About page. It tells you all about us. You can click on all of the navigation buttons up top. You can also, under Contact, if you hover above the Contact, you're looking for help, click on the drop-down that says Recovery Partners, and you will find places like Music Cares. You'll find places that you can reach out to, like the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Administration of Washington, D.C. There's other organizations there that can help you. So it doesn't matter if you're from Park Place to Park Bench. If you need help and you're seeking help, you can go to that page. There are people that we feel comfortable with giving out the information. Most importantly, check out the events that are coming up. Rockers in Recovery is a media company, and what we do is we spread the message of hope through our radio shows, and we've been doing this since 2008. You are listening to, I think, 874, number 874 that we have up on Blog Talk Radio, and also you can go to our streamer at rockersinrecovery.com and listen live. You can listen to Rockers in Recovery 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just by clicking on that link. We also have our own magazine and, of course, blogs, and we reshare a bunch of blogs, too. You can check us out, Rockers in Recovery, on Facebook, at Rockers in Recovery on Facebook. Rockers in Recovery, thanks for tuning in tonight. I'm John Hollis. Glad you were with us, and we look forward to, of course, lots more shows coming up in 2018. We're going heavy on radio, so we're looking forward to that in 2018. And we'll see you, by the way, this coming weekend, a little quickie. We're doing Jensen Beach at the place. Come on out and rock with us. It's going to be one band and some unplugged, and you can check that out at rockersinrecovery.com right on the right-hand side. Last two events, the last one being November 11th. Look forward to seeing everybody. God bless. Great night. Bye.
I can't believe all the things some people say. It makes no sense to me at all. Well, I just cannot conceive all the games they try to play. They won't put my back against the wall. If you believe all the things you see today, you'd be a blind man and a fool. Don't take it too hard. Go on and turn your head away from he who has the gold and makes the rules. It seems like always is never enough. Is it love? on. Don't take it from me. You gotta look into yourself. It's time for us all to take a stand. When it seems like always is never enough, is enough. Too much is always the same. Just when you think that you got it all together now, somebody else wins the game and can take away the prize. I can't get high enough to hide from everything that's going down. You know I can't get drunk enough to find out all the shit that's going down around my head. You know I can't get high enough to hide from everything that's coming down. You know I can't get drunk enough to find out all the shit that's coming down around my town. Well, I've had enough of all the shit that's going down. It's time to get up and get on out of here. And if you're gonna complain, you best keep it to yourself. That's more of that stuff I just don't wanna hear. But I do believe that we can find a better way. This life is the coolest place to be. So won't you come along with me? Together we can find a place where we can all be happy, joyous and free. But it seems like always is never enough, is enough. Too much is always the same. Just when you think that you got it all together now, somebody else wins the game and they take away the prize. Always is never enough, is enough. Too much is always the same. It's the same game everybody's playing. Just when you think that you got it all together now, somebody else wins the game and they take away the prize.
Rockers in Recovery Radio is based on opinion only and is not meant to treat or diagnose any health or mental health issue of any kind. If you feel you need help for any health-related issues, please contact a physician or mental health professional. The opinions expressed by our guests are not necessarily those of Rockers in Recovery.
Keep your OTR trucking business rolling. Make TaxesForTruckers.com your partner to handle the money side. TaxesForTruckers.com can help you pay less taxes, keep your books, and track your finances to stay on the road towards your goals. Get started at TaxesForTruckers.com. That's taxes, the number 4, truckers.com.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.